So it's like you've checked all the boxes and yet you feel something is missing because you've been well trained. You've not been well educated, right? Well trained means you can train a lion, you can train a tiger to, stand on 2 feet and juggle, but that's not what we are meant to do, right? You have your own innate strengths.
Fair, fair.
If you've been well trained to do that only and only that, then you're not happy, right? Is a lion happy in a cage? No. Similarly, I don't think humans are happy doing something that they've been told to do.
Let's talk about the quarter life crisis, because I think that I think it just applies to most of the people, even the people who are probably not in their quarter lives anymore. So yeah, what do you have to say? Because I know you have this 5-step process to overcome this sort of crisis. And let's just address what this quarter life crisis is first.
So quarter life crisis, I mean, the basic understanding is that you have no idea who you are in terms of awareness, and you have no idea what the path leads to, what your future looks like. So you have come to a point where maybe it could be like this, it could happen like this. You've studied something, you studied engineering, you come out of graduation knowing that you will suck as an engineer if you ever took up that job, but at the same time you don't know what you want to do. Or it could be the fact that you come in as an engineer, you take up a job as an engineer, and then you realize you don't like working as an engineer, but then now you don't know what you want to do. Yeah. Or it could even be the fact that, you thought you love all of these things, but after doing it, you don't really enjoy any of those things. And then you're like thinking, I don't see myself doing this for the rest of my life, but heck, what do I really like to do? And what can I make money? What can make me money? Sorry. So that's the biggest challenge. Everyone feels like, I know I don't like this, but I don't really know what I can do.
Can you actually run us through those 5 steps?
So the 5 steps, basically, first is clarity, right? Which is basically knowing who you are, identifying what are your strengths, what are your passions, right? What are your likes and dislikes, right? And then after that, the second step is to really
how do you do that? How do you actually figure out, it's such a overused word, passion, but how do you actually narrow it down and say, oh, this is my passion? Because it's sort of...
So there are a few ways to do it. You can first thing is you can just sit down and do some reflections. What do you like to do in your free time, even if you're not being paid for it, right? So do you like to read books? For me, it was about reading books. I love to read books, and it's always in a specific genre. I
don't think anyone gets paid to read books except critics. So
and editors.
Editors,
So
editors, that's a hard job.
That was like one of the ways that I actually found out is I was always geared towards psychology as a theme. I always liked it and enjoyed it. So what are some recurring themes that are always popping up in your life? Like, do you always like to do gardening in your free time? What makes you feel happy? What makes you feel joy? What makes you feel like you don't realize the time flying by when you're doing it, right? It could be traveling, it could be related to reading, writing, it could be so many different things, cooking, right? So that is one thing you want to identify. What do you do in your free time that makes you, like, don't say hanging out with friends, like that's not something you do by yourself. What can you do by yourself that makes you feel happy, right? The second thing you can do is you can ask your friends, like, what do you think is me? Who do you think I am? Like, what are few words you think will really represent who I am? And then ask them about it. Ask them to clarify, explain. And your friends who have known you for a while, right, they will be able to encapsulate, the essence of who you are, right? So your friends will tell you, I always feel like you've been this kind of a person, right? And this kind of jobs. Another way you can go about it is by taking up personality profiling tools. And these are really useful to identify what are your strengths. So personality profiling is like identifying what's your right hand and what's your left hand about. So your right hand and left hand, you have what dominant hand. A dominant hand is what you use and what you prefer to use in all situations because it's just easier, right? So identifying those strengths is like that. It's like using your dominant hand for all the things that make life easier.
So this essentially gives you the clarity at the first step, like at the onset, you
Yeah.
know what you should be focusing on, what you enjoy doing, and yeah, I mean, what are your strengths? You know, right hand, left hand rules. So and how what's the next step? Like what do you do after that? Like how do you
So
act
once
on this?
you're clear, so once you're clear about that, right? You can also, so let's just segue into Ikigai because this just fits in well. Right. So
Okay.
you know what your passions are, you know what your strengths are. Then the next thing you need to know is whether there is a market for it where you can make this into a profession. Can you turn your passion into a profession or your passion into a profit? Right. That's the next thing you want to check. Right. So
So
if there is,
it's a three circle, the Venn diagram.
it's four. It's four.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
So and
The
then the
fourth is the
last
Ikigai.
one, yeah, and the last one is how can you give back to society, right? So
Okay.
when it comes to giving back to society, you can always tune yourself into United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. There's 17 of them, right? So
Wow.
it's
Okay.
17 different goals that you can focus on. So it can be poverty, gender inequality, better economic and work situations, water, like, life underwater, life on land. What are you really
Interesting.
passionate
Interesting.
about saving? Like the climate change? Are you passionate about animals, or are you passionate about gender inequality? So
Mm.
aligning yourself. So which also now brings us to the next step, which is after you've gotten clarity, align yourself to all of these things, right? You align yourself to your strengths, your passions, what the market needs, and what the community needs. So once you've aligned yourself, once you've seen that alignment, you see like you're being authentic to yourself, you feel like you are completely happy being who you are, then you
Yeah.
move on to the next stage, which is to start developing habits. So this is step number 3, right? So first
Yeah.
is clarity, next is alignment, and then after that is habits. So the habits is where you start small instead of starting big. A lot of people like to start really big, New Year's resolution, I will exercise every single day, and you die off maybe midway in the second week, right? So starting off really small, taking
Yeah.
small steps. So if you really want to go into entrepreneurship, what are some small steps you can take on a daily basis to
Yeah.
really build that business, right? So
How do
maybe
you
like,
how do you think this would apply to someone who is who wants to put out their content on say YouTube, or start their own podcast? Like in a way, I think the message is that you start small and you scale up
yeah,
gradually.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, all you have to do if you want to do this on YouTube, then just start out with understanding what are the different steps involved in putting out a video on YouTube, and do it step by step, right? Don't wait for perfection. So I think a lot of people, they also want things to be perfect, but if it's
Yeah.
perfect, you already started too late, right? That's the common thinking that we have. If you
That's a
if you wait for things to be
good
perfect,
yeah, thinking. If it's perfect, you're already too late. Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, just break it down. So if you there are so many elements to a YouTube video, right? So you have to have the right cameras, you need to learn about lighting, you need to learn about editing, you need to learn
Look
about
at this,
cover
man.
images, you need to learn about descriptions on the YouTube, you need to learn
Ah.
about hashtags, you need to learn about marketing your YouTube
You need
channel.
to learn about best times to post your
Yeah, I mean, all of
content.
these things are part and parcel. So
Yeah.
focusing on one thing at a time and getting it
Mm.
right. And the thing is, the more you churn out on a regular basis, the better you get. So it's more about consistency, not intensity. So
Mm.
focus on being consistent, not intense, right? But people always get it wrong. They get a huge spike in motivation, they go really intensely into putting out maybe 5-10 videos at a time, but they die out very fast. Instead, do one a week maybe, or one a month, and do that consistently for 1 year. You get into the habit, you get into the rhythm, you will learn along the way. Every video you become better and better, and you become faster and faster. So you learn how
Nice.
to
Nice.
balance yourself. So
Mm.
that's the habits part, right?
Yeah. Mm.
The next step is basically about learning how to motivate yourself when things don't go your way. So how to build some resilience. So along the journey, you will of course face, you'll have some stumbling blocks. So
Yeah.
how do you motivate yourself in such a way? So I talk about visualization. I talk about affirmations. I talk about having mental resilience, so that you don't give up halfway, right? If it's a journey that you feel is worth pursuing, then you need to equip yourself with tools so that you can either prevent whatever could happen, or repair whatever has happened, right? So
Yeah.
you need to have the right tools to do that. So
So
there's
do
this
you do
exercise.
something around the like the visualization bit? Like do
Yeah,
you
yeah,
do, is that a regular thing you do?
yeah. So when I do a lot of coaching for millennials who are applying for jobs, and one of the key things that hold them back is the fact that they've already been rejected for jobs. So they find that I'm so scared that they'll ask me a question, I'll be caught off guard, and I can't answer it, and I'll get rejected again. So that scene keeps replaying in their head over and over again. What if this, what if that? So to really get them to stop thinking about everything that can go wrong, right, and start thinking about what can go right, we teach them visualization techniques. We teach them neuro linguistic programming, how to really program your mind in such a way that you're always thinking about the best case scenarios, right? So
Yeah, I think
so
this really applies to a lot of people, because I think people are sometimes just too shy, or you know uh, introverted in some sense, that they are not ready to put out. They would probably would like to express themselves to something, but yeah, they're just too coy about these things. But yeah, having that mindset, the clarity of thought, which we addressed firstly, and then this visualization bit, I think that's really key, because we discussed it a lot previously, I remember, and I see it. Even sportsmen, they apply it in their lives. It's
yeah.
something very helpful, because it's in a way you're affirming things for yourself. So
And it's so powerful. Like they've done like studies with sports people who did practice and those who just visualized, right? And both of them had the same results in terms of improvement. They had the same
yeah,
amount of productivity.
apparently
So
Sachin Tendulkar did not face too many balls in the practice nets during the World Cup 2003 or something. He would just visualize. So he would be like, "Oh, I'm gonna play Shoaib Akhtar like this. I'm gonna play Meghra like that." So yeah, I think that's a good takeaway, because also there's a book, or I don't know, is the book? Do you know about this book called The Secret?
that's law of attraction. Yeah, yeah.
So it's similar, right? Like you
It is
visualize.
connected. It's connected. It's connected in the sense that the more you think about something, the more you'll attract it. So what you seek is also seeking you, right? That's the basically the
Powerful.
whole idea behind the book. But the problem is people will think about one thing, and then after that they'll think, it'll not happen, and then after that they think about the same thing, and then so they go into ups and downs, right? But for law of attraction to work, you have to be able to channel your thought in one direction consistently, and
Hmm.
that's the problem a lot of people have. Like they desire certain things, but after a while their thoughts change direction. So imagine you're going to a restaurant, you're giving an order, say I want a tandoori chicken, and then before he even reaches the kitchen, you change your order. No, I changed my mind, I think I'll have a pizza. And
Ah,
then before he goes back again, you change your mind. No, I think tandoori chicken. So you keep changing your order, you will never get your food, right? So law of attraction, it won't work for a lot of people who keep changing their thoughts. So
okay, okay, yeah.
be
So
able to
I
have
think there's a bit of a lag in your audio.
techniques.
Okay, I think you're fine.
Yeah, yeah. Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. So I think we discussed the 4 points. Right? There's the fifth step after resilience. After you build your resilience.
Yeah. So after you focus on the motivation part, then it's about having peak performance and productivity. So we talk about managing yourself. So managing your energy, managing your attention, and managing your time. So these are the three essential things behind productivity. So it's good to be able to get somewhere, but to be able to maintain it is a whole new level, right? So it's easy to make money, but to maintain the money, that means to manage it really well, takes a lot of effort as well. So the last chapter is dedicated to helping individuals manage themselves, right?
Okay.
Manage their productivity, so that they are able to sustain the same level of results throughout, right?
Yeah.
So that's the last. So
But
all of
I
these
think
steps
yeah.
Yeah.
So with the peak performance, I also I get reminded of this concept of flow. I don't know if you know
Yeah.
flow, like a state of mind, and it's when your challenges are really high, and your skill set level is also the amount of skills that you require to do that job is also very high. So when
Yeah.
it's high and high, you'll reach a level of flow, which is
Yeah.
basically a state of constant learning and constant pushing and growing in a way. So it's,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I mean that's a, if you are in peak performance, you don't notice the passing of time, right? You just zone out in a way. So that's at the same time you get a lot of work done. So that's
yeah,
basically what it's all about.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think yeah, these things are very useful to know. But for someone who's just starting out, maybe the primary audience that we're targeting with this, I think most important is to have a clear clarity around what they would like to work on,
Hmm.
align themselves accordingly, create those habits. And yeah, of course, once you start visualizing and building on it, you will reach a
Mm.
state of peak performance or flow. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. So yeah.
When you're going into social media, make sure that you understand that the entire idea of putting out a post is two things. One is to inspire people, and
Mm,
second is to prime them to work with you, right? To give them subtle messages so that they feel like, yes, I need to work with this person. This is the whole idea behind branding, right? So people know you, they trust you, they
mm,
like you, they trust you, they respect you enough to want to work with you. So your social media strategies should be able to do these things. If you're doing anything for entertainment, for humor, you're sharing your like other side, that's fine. But as long as you do have strategic posts that position you in a way that either gets them to be inspired or it primes them to work with you, you're pretty much doing social media in the wrong way,
I
right? So
think I
that's
think
that's what I'm saying.
that's very that's good to know. I think I learned something on that because from a content point of view, I've always seen it that I feel that you should either be entertaining people or you should be educating people. So from a content point of
Mhm.
view, that makes sense. But from a branding point of view, you have to actually, yeah, you have to place yourself in a way that you can actually inspire people and get people to work with you. So that's brilliant.
Of course. So this is what happens, right? Once you start inspiring people and once you start priming them to work with you, what usually happens next is they'll reach out to you and say, I'm interested to know more. So once they're interested to know more, then you funnel them into a group where you then educate them, right, about the topic.
Okay.
Right? Because then it becomes a group of people who are really interested to listen to what you have to say.
Hmm.
So imagine you're walking across Orchard Road, right? You walk across Takashimaya. There will be some person, there'll be some event or something there. Usually, a lot of insurance agents are there, right? And they always there's this MC talking about finance and stuff like that, but it's not relevant to you, right? So talking on social media is something like that. You just walk past the event, right? You're not interested because it's not relevant to you. But let's say you are looking for you're looking for some kind of insurance, and you happen to walk past, right? And then this person is talking about insurance. So automatically you'll go and you'll inquire. So once you inquire, what's the next thing they'll do? They'll collect your information, right? And then they'll follow up and they'll set appointments with you. And then after that, whether you want to work with them becomes a decision you have to make, right? So that it's a
Hmm.
funneling process, right? So you
Hmm.
cannot
Yeah.
be out there marketing and saying, buy from me, buy from me, buy from me. Everyone feels like it's such a slimy way of doing sales, right? And so nobody is inspired by that. Nobody is engaged in that kind of post. So you got to start out with engaging people by inspiring them, right? People are already upset in their own lives. They have a lot of problems. So when they come to social media, they either want to be entertained or inspired. They want happy emotions. They don't really want sad emotions. So the way
Hmm.
to uplift your brand is to really start providing that.
Cool. I think that's a brilliant message to sort of wrap this entire conversation up. Yeah, I think yeah, educating people, entertaining people, and inspiring people. I think that's the way to go. And I think it's great because you shared so much also on all these processes. I think that'll be really helpful. Uh,
Mhm.
for, I mean, hopefully people are listening to this, but at least for me, I know it'll be really helpful because, yeah, I think a lot of things, there's a lot of things to take away from this.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for doing this, yeah.